I'm Jim Rome. Next week on The Last Word, the one and only Don King goes off as only he can, and we'll close out Black History Month. Dr. Harry Edwards joins me to discuss racial equity in sports. The Last Word, weeknights at 11:30 on Fox Sports Net.
The Southeastern Conference. Your source is SEC TV. Thursdays at 7, only on Fox Sports Net.
He grew up on the dusty byways of the rural South, and racing was in his blood.
All Dale Earnhardt thought about was racing. That was his whole life.
From the grimy garages of his youth to the winner's circle at the Daytona 500, it was a long and winding road for Dale Earnhardt.
A lot of people like him, a lot of people don't.
A 16-year-old high school dropout who developed a love for stock car racing that would eventually dominate the sport.
He is ruthless on the racetrack.
The sudden death of his father, a local racing legend himself, made Dale tougher. The Intimidator, the Man in Black. Earnhardt earned the reputation as a ruthless competitor in an unforgiving sport.
He's kind of like the class bully.
Succeeding Richard Petty as the king of stock cars and helping usher in a new era of prosperity for NASCAR.
Come on, get him in the forward.
Until tragedy ended his unparalleled career.
Big trouble. Big wreck behind.
And left the world of auto racing in mourning. The man, the life, the legacy. A tribute to Dale Earnhardt, special beyond the glory. The last lap of the Daytona 500 belonged to Dale Earnhardt.
Yeah, that's two Earnhardts up there. I think you're odd man out, buddy.
The lead wasn't his, but true to his nickname, the Intimidator was on a mission. Dale was protecting two cars in the race that belonged to him, one driven by the leader, Michael Waltrip, another with his son, Dale Jr., behind the wheel.
He is intense.
On turn 4, as Waltrip and Dale Jr. jockeyed for the lead, the Man in Black sat in third place, determined to have the Earnhardt team in the winner's circle. When driver Sterling Marlin came charging up behind Earnhardt, the Intimidator did what he does best. He held his ground. His famous number 3 Chevy traded paint with the Dodge driven by Marlin, and the Intimidator lost control, taking Ken Schrader's yellow Pontiac headfirst into the concrete wall at 180 miles an hour. In this high-speed game of cat and mouse, where spectacular crashes come with the job, this wreck on this final turn at Daytona seemed relatively minor, a mere fender bender. At 49 years old, Earnhardt had walked away from worse, often without a scratch. But not this day.
You got it. You got it. You got it.
When the checkered flag dropped at the Florida racetrack, time stood still, and winning or losing no longer mattered. Auto racing had lost a legend.
This is undoubtedly one of the toughest announcements that I've ever personally had to make. But after the accident in turn 4 at the end of the Daytona 500, we've lost Dale Earnhardt.
If the Daytona 500 is the Super Bowl of NASCAR, then Dale Earnhardt was its John Elway. In 23 starts, he won the race only once, and it took him 19 years to get there. Hard to believe for the biggest money winner in Winston Cup history. Earnhardt grew up in a North Carolina town where auto racing was more popular than baseball. His dad was a NASCAR legend before NASCAR was cool, and Dale was more comfortable behind the wheel of a stock car than in a classroom.
He was just somebody we could all look at and say, you know, wow, that's Dale Earnhardt. He grew up here just like I did, and look what he's done with his life.
Monday through Friday, young Dale paid his dues as a grease monkey, saving the weekends for the dirt tracks where he chased his dream of being a Winston Cup driver.
Dale didn't have anything given to him. He made his way to where people recognized him as a racer and then were willing to take him in.
His dad was gone 2 years before Dale would earn his first victory, but he had 76 other wins to help ease that pain.
I definitely think he was born to drive a race car. I've never seen anyone start out that young and have that much talent at that young of age that I've ever seen.
A millionaire many times over, Earnhardt enjoyed more success racing around the track than walking down the aisle. Dale was married twice before meeting his soulmate, Teresa, who never missed a race. She was there for his final lap at Daytona, and she was there when they laid him to rest. In auto racing's darkest hour, a sport mourned a hero, while a nation of fans paused in a moment of grief and disbelief. Up next, from Cartown to a legend in the making, a determined young man gets his start in racing.
I knew if he's anything like his father, he's going to be a great race driver.
But he pays a heavy price, a lost education and the death of his father. And later, from the dirt tracks of the rural South to the super speedways of Daytona.
To win the Daytona 500.
The Intimidator is born.
He's kind of like the class bully.
This is Dale Earnhardt, Beyond the Glory.
Wrap up your race day with NASCAR Victory Lane. From the pole position to the winner's circle.
The last word on NASCAR each weekend.
A full recap of all the day's action. NASCAR Victory Lane, Sundays on Fox Sports Net.
Hey, Keith, you're gonna show bloopers? 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 Bloopers. You gonna show bloopers?
No.
The Keith Olbermann Evening News, Sunday at 10 on Fox Sports Net.
The Honda Valkyrie. It's one of the most impressive motorcycles ever made. But don't stop there. Chrome it, customize it, personalize it. Your Honda dealer can give you $500 in custom bucks to get started. Plus 5.9% APR financing with no down payment. The Valkyrie Custom Starter Kit. During deals to move on, it's your Honda dealer.
Dad lost his hair early. When I started losing mine, I checked it out with a dermatologist, and he said Rogaine. It's 2 years later now, and I don't see any difference. The doc was right. You can keep the hair you have with Rogaine.
Our supplier sent us the wrong airbag.
We can't shut down the line. Put them in.
Need to make sure you get the right parts at the right time? This is a job for FedEx.
A 260 horsepower CL Type S from Acura.
Blue Torch TV. What turns you on? Exotic locations. Action sports. Weekdays at 4. 3 kids.
It's a very good chance that I might go to the NBA.
3 lives.
Just a matter of doing the right things.
1 dream.
Basketball is my job.
Prep Chicago Hoops. Weekdays at 5 on Fox Sports Net.
He's been called the greatest NASCAR driver ever. His career cut short on turn 4 of the final lap at the Daytona 500. Dale Earnhardt. He died doing a job he spent all of his life preparing for.
We've lost Dale Earnhardt.
NASCAR's Intimidator was born on a rainy April 29, 1951, to Ralph and Martha Earnhardt in the small town of Kannapolis, North Carolina. A week after his death, Kannapolis was still finding it hard to say goodbye to its hometown hero.
You know, it's a neat thing to know somebody that's famous. He was just a local boy. Nobody gave him anything. He made his way. He became famous, but he never forgot it.
Dale grew up in this house where his mother still lives, in an area they call Car Town because all the streets are named after cars. And although his dad Ralph worked at the local textile mill, his heart too was on the track.
I ran against his father. I knew if he's anything like his father, he's going to be a great race driver. He was cocky.
The elder Earnhardt was a NASCAR pioneer. Even though he didn't start racing professionally until he was 25, Ralph made a quick and lasting impact on the sport.
His dad was an excellent driver. I think a lot of people will tell you he was possibly the best dirt track driver ever. I used to watch him when I was a small child. My dad would take me out to the old Concord Speedway, the red clay track that now pretty much people just see in film, and he was an incredible driver.
In 1956, he won the NASCAR Sportsman Championship with 32 victories. And at one point, he held titles at 7 different tracks. Young Dale soon shared his dad's passion for fast cars and dirt tracks, as they found themselves spending hours in their garage out back, working on Ralph's race car.
Being there with his father, working with his father in the shop, seeing his father drive, that was what led him into stock car racing.
Dale attended A.L. Brown High School, where last week his number 3 was eulogized by students with a can of spray paint and a prayer. But he soon decided that schoolwork was not for him. His heart was in racing. By the 9th grade, his academic career came to a screeching halt.
His teachers will tell you that he was a great kid, but he knew what he wanted to do. He wanted to go stock car racing.
Dale's decision to leave school didn't sit well with his father and led to their first real falling out.
I think the only thing or the biggest thing I ever did wrong in my life was probably not going to school, and I quit school early. And a lot because of my education, but the biggest thing is what my dad would want me to do is finish school.
But Ralph Earnhardt soon recognized that his son, nicknamed Old Ironhead, would eventually make it in the world on his own terms. For after all, he was just as tough as the old man. But a career in racing would take money. So Dale took a job at the local tire and wheel shop where in this garage, he aligned front ends, balanced tires, and was soon in demand for his ability to make cars run, and run fast.
You know, even back then, people were particular about who worked on their car, and there's quite a few people that came down that didn't want anybody to work on their car but Dale Earnhardt. And so he was always, he didn't just jump in a race car from a suit and a tie and start racing. He knew how to work on a car, and of course, he knew how to drive one, that's for sure.
Punchy Whitaker, who now owns the store, proudly displays a canceled payroll check made out to Earnhardt.
It was a 2-week check, and I think he took home a little over $200 in '73, so things changed a lot from '73 on up. So he asked him one time if he was interested in his old job back, and he grinned and said he'd let me know.
And Dale never forgot his old pals. In later years, he would bring his friends and fellow drivers back to the shop for a good deal on tires. Ironically, including the man involved in Earnhardt's fatal accident, Ken Schrader.
He brought Kenny down here and told him to buy his tires here, and even to this day, Kenny still does. And years ago, we were talking with Kenny, and he said, yes, you know, Earnhardt tells you to do something, you do it. He said, you know, if he tells you that's where to buy tires, where you buy your tires. So he was real loyal. He always helped us business-wise and all.
But while still working at the tire shop, Earnhardt realized he would need more money to compete against the better drivers. So he went for help to his friend Marshall Brooks, who owned a motorcycle shop.
Dale just came to the motorcycle shop one day and asked me if I'd be interested in a sponsor, some kind of sponsor deal. Well, we didn't make a lot of money, but I figured if Dale was going to race and be like his dad, it'd be worthwhile to advertise. For $75 a week, I could get my name, Doc Cycle Center, on the quarter panels of Dale's car. And we agreed to that, and we did that.
Marshall says he immediately spotted Earnhardt's unbridled passion and knew he had made a good investment.
There's a lot of people that would come to you and say, I want to be this, and I'm willing to pay the price. All Dale Earnhardt thought about was racing. That was his whole life.
In the early 70s, young Earnhardt began to get some attention at the local races, even though they'd often misspell his name on the event posters. In those years, Dale earned a reputation for being a tough, no-nonsense guy, a foreshadowing of his nickname.
And that's where he got his name of Intimidator, because he did not give up and say, well, I can't pass you, I'm going to just ride you. He stayed there and hammered on him until he got the job done.
He was a really tough guy when he needed to be. And in stock car racing, it's a very tough profession and it's a very tough sport. And I think he was what he felt like he needed to be successful.
While Dale was gaining respect at the track, he was also learning one of the toughest lessons of life. In 1973, while working on one of his cars, Dale's father died of a heart attack. It was a devastating blow to the young Earnhardt, who drew all of his inspiration from his first role model and his best friend. Up next, the torch is passed from father to son.
If you asked Dale what he was going to do, he would tell you he was going to drive him with the Cup. And it wasn't in a boastful way, but it was with just an incredible amount of confidence. He said that like I would tell you I'm going to publish a newspaper.
And despite divorce and financial hardship, a reputation grows. And later, the Intimidator succeeds the King as another torch is passed from one driving legend to another.
Yeah, goodbye.
This is Dale Earnhardt, Beyond the Glory.
Hello, everyone. I'm Terry Chick. Coming up tonight on your Southern Regional Sports Report at 11 Eastern. Things are tightening up in the ACC. Compliments of the Cavaliers. Virginia unleashing a relentless assault on the Tar Heels. And Carolina is shocked. We'll take you courtside for all the big shots. And 1 week after Daytona, NASCAR moves to Rockingham, where they drop the green flag, the yellow flag, and the red flag. We'll tell you what that's all about. It's 30 minutes of sports news completely dedicated to your home team. Join Dave Branch and me at 11 for your Southern Regional Sports Report.
Every day, AmeriDebt helps more people with money problems. People like Tom Baker.
My credit card debt was outrageous. Then I called AmeriDebt. They contacted my creditors and got my payments almost cut in half. Now I have only one small monthly bill.
AmeriDebt is a nonprofit organization that offers free consultations to consumers seeking to eliminate their debt. People like the Shaws.
Every month I pay our credit card bills, but the balances never seem to get smaller.
AmeriDebt got our interest rates reduced, and now the balances are dropping dramatically.
And what's even more amazing is our payments are less than before.
Call 1-800-470-6868. Regardless of your credit, in minutes, join the thousands of people who have turned their financial lives around. People like Maria Rinaldi.
Before I called AmeriDebt, the creditors were calling every day. I thought bankruptcy was the only way out. Now I'm debt-free, and my credit rating has been restored.
Call 1-800-470-6868. 1-800-470-6868. AmeriDebt, helping America get out of debt.
Buy a new Polaris ATV and choose one of these hot, pure Polaris accessories. Or choose payments as low as $48 a month. Call 1-800-POLARIS for your nearest dealer.
You're watching Beyond the Glory on Fox Sports Net.
Witness perfection with HBO The Works and Multimax from Cinemax. First, the television event you've been waiting for, The Sopranos, a brand new season. Then get the best, most Max with Multimax from Cinemax. Multiple channels for multiple choices, plus an on-screen viewing guide. Witness perfection with HBO The Works and Multimax from Cinemax. Call now.
Dave is a high school coach and teacher, and he's just been adopted by his new best friend. He's looking for an SUV. VHIX.com. Save time and test drive a car with VHIX. Compare vehicles back to back. You can even custom build a car online. Check out crash test and safety results. VHIX.com. Find the right car for you. VHIX.com. Roadmap to the automotive world.
Watching Fox Sports Net.
If they'd had computers all these years and could recreate any driver from history, who would you like to race against?
My dad.
I got to see Curtis.
My dad.
Dale Earnhardt never got a chance to prove his driving skills to his father. When Ralph passed away in 1973, Dale was still racing on the local tracks near his hometown.
If you asked Dale what he was going to do, he would tell you he was going to drive and win the Cup. And it wasn't in a boastful way, but it was with just an incredible amount of confidence. He said that like I would tell you I'm going to publish a newspaper.
Dale coped with his dad's death as he did with all of his problems, by diving deeper into his passion for racing. That's when he turned to a family friend, Tommy Russell, to help him build the perfect race car. And Dale was willing to work.
He was a hands-on driver, excellent mechanic. A lot of people don't know that about him, but he was there every night working on the car, working with us. Of course, that kept all of our morales up when you have the driver working with you each night.
Russell says one of the things that made Dale a great driver was his mechanical knowledge, knowing just how much he could push his car and when.
He was very easy on the car. He didn't destroy any cars for me, and I don't remember back in those days him ever tearing up a car. We were running on dirt tracks. That's a little harder on a car than most tracks would be, but very easy on a car, knew what a car could take and took it to its limits, but he never did abuse the car.
With Russell's help, Earnhardt was on his way. In 1975, Dale ran his first Winston Cup stock car race in the World 600 at Charlotte Motor Speedway. He finished 22nd. His earnings for the year, a paltry $1,900, but his mechanic noticed something special.
What impressed me most when he was a young driver is his ability to find the groove, set the car up, stay out of trouble, but also run in the front of the pack. He was running against some very seasoned drivers on those dirt tracks back in those days. He had run a number of years, and he just outshined them all.
Over the next 3 years, Earnhardt made a total of 8 more starts. His reputation as a bully on the track swelled with each checkered flag. But winning eluded Earnhardt, and the financial pressure was mounting. By 1977, Earnhardt had been divorced twice and already had 3 kids. The bills were piling up, and Dale was borrowing money just to keep his car on the track.
I remember one time he came to me on Friday and he said, Doc, I've got to have 4 tires. He said, I can't race this weekend. I said, well, how much are they? And they were like $75 a piece. I said, okay. I said, I've got enough money to go for 2 of them. And I called a friend of mine and I said, Jack, I said, Dale's got to have 4 tires. I said, I can afford to buy 2. He said, I'll buy the other 2.
In 1978, Dale finally got the break he was waiting for. Teaming up with his first real car owner, Rod Osterlund, in his first race at Atlanta's Dixie 500, Earnhardt finished 4th. It was Dale's only top 5 finish of the year, but it was good enough to impress Osterlund, who took a chance by putting Dale on his Winston Cup team. It was a gamble that paid off, and paid off big. Up next, the king, Richard Petty, is dethroned, and a new racing legend is born.
He'd put the old horn to you, give you 2 or 3 chances to get out of the way, and if you were a slower car, you should have gotten out of the way.
He might have been known as the Intimidator, but fans flocked to him. And he rewrote racing history with arrogance and blazing speed. And later, ushering in a new era in NASCAR with the ominous Man in Black. This is Dale Earnhardt, Beyond the Glory.
His name is Spot. The top canine agent in America. You want we should whack a dog? He's one smart puppy. His name is Gordon. He's one dumb mailman. That's Satan's dog. But on March 2nd, it's doo-doo or die.
What's that smell?
Critics say See Spot Run is ferocious fun. The best family film of the season. See Spot Run. Rated PG. Sneak preview this Sunday.
After the first few days
of basic training, you realize your preconceptions were all wrong. You passed the physical fitness test. You're ready to make the transition from civilian to soldier.
Mama, mama, can't you see?
You've got what it takes to make it no matter what.
What this army does to me. What this army does to me. Whoa.
You've seen your drill sergeants, and you realize they aren't so bad. Then you realize your training hasn't even started yet.
Get off the ball! Let's go! You better move, soldier! You better move back in there! That's what I gave you. Let's go!
Log on. Watch Basic begin.
Oh, waiting on you!
Only at GoArmy.com.
Let me take over. The 2001 Mitsubishi Galant, very nicely equipped with 1.9% APR for 5 whole years. You know, it's really very simple.
Beyond the Glory will return in a moment on Fox Sports Net.
To the true power of e-business. Do you have the software to manage it? If not, consider this your wake-up call. Our software manages more e-business than anyone else on Earth. Hello, tomorrow. We are Computer Associates, the software that manages e-business.
Black gold. You can make money in oil if you know where to look. Janice drills into companies by looking in person. By walking a pipeline that also carried phone cable, Janice saw how one oil company found new revenue streams, so dips in oil prices wouldn't have them over a barrel. By tracking down the story, Janice found a stock worth gushing about. Get there. Janice Mutual Funds.
Let me take over. The 2001 Mitsubishi Galant, very nicely equipped with 1.9% APR for 5 whole years. You know, it's really very simple.
This is Beyond the Glory, a tribute to Dale Earnhardt. There was never any doubt about what Dale Earnhardt wanted to do with his life. And when he finally realized his dream and joined the Winston Cup circuit full-time in 1979, he was ready to conquer the world.
He was a local boy. He did a good job. He never forgot where he was from. When his name came across the screen, it was Dale Earnhardt from Kannapolis, North Carolina. He was just a small hometown boy. And it's a cliche you hear a lot, but it's just the truth.
It took the man they called Ironhead only 7 races to find his way to victory lane. But even faster than he was turning laps, this brash rookie's aggressive style was also ruffling feathers and making enemies.
Well, every time I pick up a paper, he's got a bunch of jaw in there, you know, talking about people and how he's going to beat them. And
he'd put the old horn to you, give you 2 or 3 chances to get out of the way, and if you were a slower car, you should have gotten out of the way.
He spoke his piece, and most time backed it up if he had the equipment to do so. And a lot of people didn't like that.
A mid-season accident sidelined Earnhardt for nearly a month, but his 11 top 5 finishes were enough to capture Rookie of the Year honors. Broke and in debt just a year before, Earnhardt's sensational rookie season had finally earned him the financial security he'd always coveted. Team owner Rod Osterlund rewarded his star driver with a 5-year contract. While the competition waited for a meltdown, Earnhardt began the 1980 season like an old pro.
A lot of people would talk about him, you know, that he's going to wreck and kill everybody and on the racetrack and that kind of stuff. But the guy, he was giving it everything he had to try to make it big in the sport.
With the king Richard Petty and Cale Yarborough chasing him week after week, Earnhardt refused to slow down. When the dust settled, Earnhardt had wrestled the points championship from the two legends and began his own run in history. In just 2 short years, he'd already become the only driver ever to win Rookie of the Year and the Winston Cup title, one right after the other.
Dale took it to the next level. He didn't claim to be smooth. He didn't want to be smooth. That's just who he was.
Earnhardt's good fortune ran out in 1981 when financial troubles forced Osterlund to sell the team before the season was half over.
When Osterlund sold out, I don't believe I ever seen a kid was broke a heart as bad as Earnhardt was.
Within a month, Earnhardt clashed with his new bosses and walked away from his 5-year contract and into the garage of slumping driver owner Richard Childress.
I said, Richard, the best thing you can do is hire Dale Earnhardt, and you look after the car and let him drive it.
But the fledgling operation wasn't very competitive, and at season's end, Earnhardt moved on to another team with Childress's blessing. Behind the scenes, though, the two men had developed a strong friendship, a friendship that would eventually blossom into one of the greatest partnerships in racing history. With the support of his wife, Teresa, Earnhardt endured a series of disappointments during the 1982 and 1983 seasons. On the track, the circus' brightest star was as intense as ever, but in the garage, it was a different story. An erratic car, a stubborn new owner in Bud Moore, and the lofty expectations that go along with success weighed heavily on Earnhardt.
He needed a break. He needed some opportunities. And I think at the time he was envious of where I was and what I had. I was doing what he wanted to do.
In 1984, a disillusioned Earnhardt returned to Childress's garage with a vow to build a team that could consistently win year after year. Back behind the wheel of a Chevy for the first time in nearly 3 years, Earnhardt was at ease again, both on the track and off it.
Racing's been great. It's been, you know, it's pretty neat to do something you thoroughly enjoy, and you look forward to getting up every day to go do, and to make a living and make money at it too, and be able to have the things we've got from it. So I got my cake and I can eat it too.
As easygoing as he was in private, on the track, Earnhardt's reputation as a nasty racer was growing.
If he didn't have the car to just drive on by somebody, he'd sit down on their bumper and just sit there and nag them. He'd go outside, inside, and he just aggravated them until they just finally pull on and let it go sometime. And that's where he got his name of Intimidator.
I don't think anybody that was leading the race with a lap or two to go wanted to see Dale Earnhardt in his mirror, because they knew he was going to try to win. He wasn't going to settle for second, so he was the best.
We would end up, you know, every so often in a real shoving match, pushing match, if you will. The kind of was at its worst, I guess, in '86 at Richmond.
Oh, they get sideways.
I went down in the first turn, got in under Dale, scooted him up out of the way, passed him, going down the back straight. Well, here comes Earnhardt. He gets right up along the right side of my car, and he just does a bam and took me out of the ballpark.
There's the hook. Bang. Who do you feel hit who on that last thing between you and Darrell?
I just racing. I ain't going to, you know, me and Darrell's got to race week to week. There ain't nothing to it.
He's not choosy, you know. He don't seem to mind who it is, and they proved that.
I was hoping we could race on, but we just hung up.
He was a hard racer. You knew that. You accepted that. And you had to race Dale differently than you did anybody else, because he had a philosophy. If you hit me once, I'm going to hit you twice.
In 1986, their third full season together, Childress and Earnhardt's plan took shape.
I think Childress realized that, it's kind of like Junior always told me, you can slow a guy down, but you can't speed a guy up. Well, all Dale needed was somebody to talk to relate to him, and slow him down a little bit and help him think, and that there was a lot of potential there.
6 years after his first championship, Earnhardt had bashed and bumped his way to a second Winston Cup title. Unfortunately for the competition, Earnhardt was only getting started. In 1987, the Intimidator threw it into high gear as he dominated the series.
Earnhardt, no question about that season. That one season, he ripped the racing apart.
He won 11 of the 29 races during the season and finished in the top 10 in all but 5 events.
He always had a little boyish grin about him. It's like he knew something you didn't know.
The man from Kannapolis was becoming a legend.
Anytime that car came out on the track, you could hear standing ovations, people shouting.
With 3 championships under his belt, Earnhardt began the 1988 season as the man in black. The toughest driver in NASCAR had a new, dark image. The middle ground had disappeared, and fans either loved him or hated him.
I'm not hot. All right, see your guys fast, everybody.
Most drivers would call a season with 13 top 10 finishes a success. But with only 3 victories on the year, Dale was determined to do better.
If there's one word at the time that I could think about Dale, he was focused. He had a goal. He knew what he wanted to do. He didn't know how he was going to get there, but he knew what he wanted to do, and he was willing to work.
Determined to regain the title in 1989, Earnhardt took the points lead heading into the summer and looked like a world beater once again. He was overpowering the competition, but it wouldn't last. A couple of mechanical mishaps opened the door for hard-charging Rusty Wallace. And when the checkered flag came down on the final race, Earnhardt had missed his 4th championship by just 12 points.
He never made any excuses. What you saw with Dale is what you got. You saw a guy that was good at what he did, and he had that mustache and that image, and it appeals to a lot of people. This is a blue-collar sport, and Dale was blue-collar.
After a decade on the Winston Cup circuit, Earnhardt had established himself as NASCAR's greatest driver, but he wasn't satisfied. 3 championships and a Rookie of the Year award were just the beginning. A new decade was about to dawn on NASCAR, and Earnhardt would have his name all over it. Up next, the man in black eludes disaster and finally captures racing's biggest prize.
This will be the longest receiving line in the history of celebrations.
And drags NASCAR into the limelight with him. And then, remembering the legend of the greatest stock car driver of all time.
He could find a hole when there wasn't a hole there.
This is Dale Earnhardt, Beyond the Glory.
Women's Trinity berths are on the line on Fox Sports Net. For some, it means a top seed. For others, it's do or die in the SEC Women's Tournament. The quarterfinals start Friday at 1 on Fox Sports Net.
Here we go.
It's the only vehicle of its kind with full-time all-wheel drive and a 325 horsepower V8. Is it possible the ultimate performance and control machine isn't German, isn't Italian, and isn't a car? Introducing the GMC Sierra C3.
A year ago, I'm bumming. I'm seeing hair here and hair there, so I started using Rogaine.
Rogaine is clinically proven to help stop hair loss.
Look, nothing here, nothing here. It's all here.
Rogaine, stronger than heredity.
With MSN Money Central, you've got the #1 ranked financial site to check all your accounts from any web connection anytime.
We didn't have to offer side impact airbags on all our new Saturns. We didn't have to make those airbags the kind that are designed to help protect your head, just like the ones that come in Mercedes and Volvo. We didn't have to. That said, we did.
South to south pit, stroke, check, check.
Hey Keith, as a respected sports journalist, what advice can you give on helping me score with the ladies?
Keep hanging out at ballparks and racetracks and you'll be fine.
The Keith Olbermann Evening News, Sunday at 10 on Fox Sports Net.
You're watching Beyond the Glory. Dale Earnhardt. Stay tuned for NASCAR Victory Lane, next on Fox Sports Net.
I am Miguel. And I am Tulio. And they call us Miguel and Tulio.
They were looking for a quick buck.
Charge!
They found a city of gold.
El Dorado.
Family adventure is in demand.
Hello.
It's 2 for the action and 2 for the road. Order the Road to El Dorado on In Demand. Get the hits you want and only what you want.
Every morning on the way to work, Greg tells you about his new RX 300 with the Lexus Value Package, the in-dash 6-disc CD auto changer, the leather trimmed seats, and the awesome power moonroof, all at a $1,500 savings. Greg, the genius. You're starting to hate him, but not nearly as much as you love his car. Ask about the RX 300 Lexus Value Package at Lexus of Nashville, Cool Springs, and Lexus of Nashville, North Madison.
It's 30 minutes of sports news completely dedicated to your home team. Join Dave Branch and me at 11 for your Southern Regional Sports Report.
On the glory, Dale Earnhardt.
The crowd cheers as Richard Petty and his number 43 Plymouth takes the checkered flag going away.
If Richard Petty was the king who immortalized NASCAR, it was the intimidator Dale Earnhardt who transformed a struggling provincial pastime into a booming national obsession.
Gentlemen, start your engine!
His enormous popularity was one of the reasons NASCAR became America's fastest-growing spectator sport in the 90s. He was revered by many, including his fellow drivers.
My hero. I just like how he races. He comes to race.
He is not a good qualifier, but he is a racer. When that green flag drops, he is coming to the front. If his car is anywhere close to being good, he's going to be up there gouging on you.
He's coming, folks.
Real ruthless. It's probably why he's won 7 championships.
It's also why so many love to hate the man behind the wheel of that ominous black Monte Carlo. The man wearing the dark glasses and the smirk of nonchalance. The man whose calling card was his front bumper.
Earnhardt's always been, he's kind of like the class bully. He's always kind of pushing and shoving and grinding and doing what he has to do, but you know, he's the way he is, and that's what you expect, and a lot of people like him, a lot of people don't.
Well, there is some damage to the front end of Earnhardt's car, the cruiser.
That was the essence of Earnhardt, the conflicting reactions he inspired. He became one of the first drivers to have his own anti-fan club, but he ranked high in the Forbes Celebrity 100, and today his merchandise accounts for more than half of a $2 billion NASCAR collectibles market.
Here he's climbing out again. Truly a remarkable American hero.
On the track, his tenacity and toughness were renowned.
What a pile of grit. Earnhardt is in the car. He's barking instructions to the crew.
As was his uncanny ability to escape disaster.
You always see him coming through the smoke, you know, and when cars are flipping and wheels are going everywhere, it was always that 3 that was coming out through it.
And of course, he won. There were consecutive NASCAR championships in 1990 and 91, and 2 more in 93 and 94 to tie him with Richard Petty with 7 championships overall. Naturally, that was not enough for the Intimidator.
As competitive as this race team is, we're focused on, the 8th championship. I'm the only guy in the sport that can do that right now.
The only thing he couldn't seem to do was win the big one at Daytona, the 500. In 1990, he led on the final lap when he cut a tire and finished 5th. The next year, he crashed with 2 laps to go. In 1993, Dale Jarrett passed him on the second-to-last lap and held him off for the win. There was a runner-up finish in 1995.
What does Earnhardt have to do to win this race?
Here it is, the Dale and Dale show once again here at Daytona.
In 1996, there was another loss to Jarrett by 12 thousandths of a second.
Here comes Earnhardt to the inside, but he can't make the move.
And then the crash in 97, running second with just 11 laps to go.
Pass. Gordon making a move on the inside of Earnhardt. Oh, Jarrett's loose.
Down the back straightaway. Big trouble. Earnhardt out.
And then there was 1998.
Saturday night, I was leaving the garage area. I saw him, and I said, "Hey, dude, tomorrow's your day." He looked at me, kind of funny. He said, "What do you mean?" "Trust me, you got the call. It's going to be your day."
It seemed like there was something about this year that was special.
Even though he hadn't won in 59 starts, even though some wondered if he had hung around too long.
Watching Elway win the Super Bowl finally, seeing that look in his eye, I said, "Guys, look at the look in my eye. I'm going for the Daytona 500." And everything was just came together.
20 years of trying, 20 years of frustration. Dale Earnhardt will come to the caution flag to win the Daytona 500.
After cutting a few donuts on the infield,
There goes the grass.
Yeah, goodbye.
A smoke show.
it was time for Dale's competitors to pay their respects.
This will be the longest receiving line in the history of celebrations.
It's so emotional, so much going on. I'm just inching along down pit road because they're clanging on the car and they're climbing in the car, and that was the biggest victory in my career.
It was his only win in a disappointing season, his worst finish in 6 years. Earnhardt's future as a driver was questioned, but his son, Dale Jr., emerged as the hottest new name in stock car racing.
Checkered flag, Dale Earnhardt Jr. is...
While the kid flourished, so did his dad, bouncing back last year to finish a close second to champion Bobby Labonte in the point standings. Old Ironhead, pushing 50, was smelling that 8th career championship again.
I've really got it all right now. I'm racing and enjoying it. I win. I'm competitive. But my family, everything's great there. I'm a lucky man. I have it all. I mean, the Lord's looked after us, I reckon.
Then came that Sunday afternoon at Daytona.
Whoa, did you see Earnhardt bounce off Kurt Busch off turn 4?
He began the race in typical fashion, flipping off a rookie who had the gall to bump him.
There it is. There it is. Kurt, you're number one.
Blocking. He ended it uncharacteristically. In third place on the last lap, not appearing to challenge for the lead, seemingly content to protect his longtime friend Waltrip and son, running first and second.
No! Big trouble! Big wreck behind them!
Then the bump, the crash, the frantic activity around the black Monte Carlo, and finally, the chilling sight of that ambulance rolling slowly, way too slowly, away from the track. Up next, remembering the man.
He wanted to be a racer. That's all he wanted to be. All Dale Earnhardt thought about was racing.
And his legacy. This is Dale Earnhardt, Beyond the Glory.
Busch Series Racing on FX, live from Las Vegas. It's time to get on a roll and make a run at one of the driver's favorites, because if you play your cards right, you'll hit the jackpot. It's Vegas, baby. Busch Series Racing on FX. Coverage begins with happy hour, Saturday, 2 Eastern, 11 Pacific, and Winston Cup Racing Sunday on Fox.
You're huge everywhere. It's him.
The Last Word, weeknights at 11:30 on Fox Sports Net.
Let me take over. The 2001 Mitsubishi Galant, very nicely equipped with 1.9% APR for 5 whole years.
You know, it's really very simple.
We ran out of these light-duty springs, but I found some big ones in the back.
Okay by me.
Does your business depend on just-in-time delivery of critical parts? This is a job for FedEx.
I'm gonna miss that dog.
Here's your house. Oh, terrific.
Here's your house. She's good. Yes. Winner. Super. Stupid! Okay.
If it were this easy to win a new house,
You get a house. Yeah.
you wouldn't need to enter the Century 21 Home Run Derby sweepstakes, where you can win $250,000 toward a new home. Enter at a participating office near you.
Hey, he was here yesterday.
No, I wasn't.
Yes, you were.
No, I wasn't.
Honda Cruisers never look better. Get no down payment and low 7.9% APR financing. Or with your Honda card, get no down payment and low monthly payments. As low as $99 per month on the hot new Shadow Spirit for the first 2 years. Deals to move on at your Honda dealer. Available on the best cruisers in the world.
Watching Beyond the Glory on Fox Sports Net.
Every day, AmeriDebt helps more people with money problems. People like Tom Baker.
My credit card debt was outrageous. Then I called AmeriDebt. They contacted my creditors and got my payments almost cut in half. Now I have only one small monthly bill.
AmeriDebt is a nonprofit organization that offers free consultations to consumers seeking to eliminate their debt. People like the Shaws.
Every month I pay our credit card bills, but the balances never seem to get smaller.
AmeriDebt got our interest rates reduced, and now the balances are dropping dramatically.
And what's even more amazing is our payments are less than before.
Call 1-800-470-6868. Regardless of your credit, in minutes, join the thousands of people who have turned their financial lives around. People like Maria Rinaldi.
Before I called AmeriDebt, the creditors were calling every day. I thought bankruptcy was the only way out. Now I'm debt-free, and my credit rating has been restored.
Call 1-800-470-6868. 1-800-470-6868. AmeriDebt, helping America get out of debt.
You know, when I hear the words Jumbo Jack, I can't help but smile. It reminds me of the first one I ever made, on my dad's grill in the backyard. I love that big tasty burger, so now I'm cooking them up for you. It's hot and juicy, topped with fresh lettuce and tomato, and for old time's sake, it's just 99 cents. Sorry, Mac, you can't beat the Jumbo Jack.
This is Beyond the Glory, a tribute to Dale Earnhardt.
He wanted to be a racer. That's all he wanted to be. You meet very few people that know what they want to be.
I don't think that it was as hard for him as it was for some other people, because he was just simply a natural, and he took that talent and took it to the limit.
I ran against his father. I knew if he's anything like his father, he's going to be a great race driver.
Dale Earnhardt, well, I guess I'd say self-determination, hates to lose, knows what he wants in life, and he goes after it and goes after it hard, and you know, he's a champion. He's a champion at heart, and he always will be. Dale undoubtedly is the best I've ever seen out on a racetrack, and I've been in this business for 37 years.
He could find a hole when there wasn't a hole there.
Oh, no! Easy, easy, easy.
If he didn't have the car to just drive on by somebody, he'd sit out on their bumper and just sit there and nag them. He'd go outside, inside, and he just aggravated them until they just finally pull on and let it go sometime.
And I've always said, out of everybody in here, if you had to pay to race, if he had $1 in his pocket, he'd be there to race. He's a real racer, you know, and you have to admire that part of him.
I look at him as more than just a legend today, and certainly somebody I've learned a lot from, and it's probably the greatest competitor I've ever raced against. Absolutely greatest competitor I've ever raced against.
He's always been a lot of fun to watch. He was probably my favorite driver as a little kid to watch, because he'd always come from, didn't matter where he qualified, he'd always come from the back to the front and pass cars and race side by side with other people, and he would just race hard for 500 miles.
He races to win, and everybody wants to be like him. I mean, everybody has different opinions about how he drives, how he wins races or whatever, but bottom line, he wins races.
I guess most of us in racing have known Dale and grew up watching him. But, you know, he was indestructible, and we never thought anything would ever happen to Dale Earnhardt.
Going down the backstretch in the final lap, out in front, Michael Waltrip in one of his cars. His son is running in second place. And as they went into that turn and he saw what was coming about, I would consider that Dale Earnhardt died happy.
I think we have probably just realized since his death how important he was to this town.
I've never met him, but I loved him, and all the fans are that way, and you feel like they're a member of the family, even though you don't really know them.
He never forgot where he was from. It was Dale Earnhardt from Kannapolis, North Carolina.
I'm wearing it because I just felt it was the thing to do. I have worn it for years, and I didn't feel like it was time to take it off yet.
Especially now.
Especially now.
I think this may have been the only, maybe one of the very few places he actually worked other than with his father and his race car. I can remember times when he'd always stop by the store, see how we were doing, stop by and eat every now and then, and he always bought tires for his personal car, and he'd send his business down here. He used to like to call and get prices on tires for his real good close friends just to show them he could get them a better deal, so we always took real good care of him.
He was a very giving person. He's done a lot for a lot of different people over the years that most people don't know about.
Lots of people have these little Dale Earnhardt stories that they love to tell.
I know you'll put your mark on baseball just like you did in racing, so I'd like you to...
He always let us use him in advertising. He said, use my ads, use me in the ads, and never asked for a dime.
Dale Earnhardt was the type of guy that when he did something for you, he did it on his own terms and never said anything about it. I cannot tell you how many things he's done for me to help my career out. I could go on and on.
I think he should be remembered as a fallen hero, a person that was very unselfish, very giving person. If you met him one time, you felt like you knew him for many, many years. He was just that type of person.
People either loved him or loved to hate him. And I think what you'll find in Kannapolis is people pretty much loved him.
I have not yet got a grip on the fact that he's gone. I saw the race. I saw the accident. I waited for him to get out of the car like he always does. And it's a numbness because you know what's happened, but it's not like it's real.
You could still sit there and say, well, that didn't happen. You know, I dreamed it and whatever, but sadly, it seems to be true, so nothing you can do but go on.
He was our hero here in Concord in Kannapolis, and I don't think we'll ever get over it.
Looking back, all the memory of the dance we shared beneath the stars above. For a moment, all the world was right. How could I have known that you'd ever say goodbye? And now I'm glad I didn't know the way it all would end, the way it all would go. Our lives are better left to chance. I could have missed the pain, but I'd have had to miss the dance. Holding you, I held everything for a moment. Wasn't I the king? But if I'd only known how the king would fall, hey, who's to say? You know, I might have changed it all. And now I'm glad I didn't know the way it all would end, the way it all would go. Our lives are better left would have missed the pain, but I'd have had to miss the dance.
We're in Rockingham, North Carolina for the second race of the 2001 season. We came to Rockingham with heavy hearts, and working in the garage area with our friends, with our family, it's helped. The healing process has definitely begun, but it's nowhere near over. We've got so many memories of Dale, and we look forward to sharing those memories with our crew members and the people inside the garage over the next few months to try to help us get to where we need to be. Hope you enjoy the race. This race and this season is going to be dedicated to the memory of Dale Earnhardt, the man that got me to victory lane.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to NASCAR Victory Lane. I'm John Roberts alongside of Derek Cope, and we'll be with you each Sunday night here on Fox Sports Net to wrap up the day's racing action. Now, today's race at Rockingham was red flagged at lap 51, and it will resume tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern on FX. Now, perhaps one of the most difficult things for a driver to do today was to get back in the car after the death of Dale Earnhardt at Daytona last week. But then again, maybe it was also the best thing to do. And Derek, we've talked about this over the last couple of days. The best thing for a driver to do is to get back to his natural environment and put a tragedy behind him.
Absolutely. I think that the key is to get back to business, to do the things that you're used to doing, and it's an instinctive thing for you, and it obviously takes your mind off of what has happened. So certainly I think the guys are looking forward to getting physically back in their race cars, and obviously it's kind of like their cocoon. They don't have a lot of people that can get access to them that way.
Now, the outpouring of emotion started last week, and it continued today at the Rock. And here is one of Earnhardt's best friend, car owner Richard Childress. Steve Burns caught up with him and has his thoughts about moving on.
We're all saddened today, and we just been praying for the Earnhardt family and give us all strength. They would want us to be strong. He'd be kicking my butt if he knew we were weak now, and it's just so many people that he's touched their lives, and I pray for them. And he was a special person, special friend. We're going to miss him. We got a job to do today. Nobody wants to be here, but we're doing it for Dale today. And Kevin Harvick has stepped up to the plate. He's a great young driver, and we got a lot of confidence in him. Dale had a lot of confidence in him. He kidded around how he was going to hire him, and so I know Dale would be happy with what we've done with putting Kevin in the car. There'll never be, like Kevin said the other day, there'll never be another Dale Earnhardt, and he just wants to be another RCR driver.
All right, now, Derek, we know it was the plan all week long. Everybody said they were going to go there and just get right back to business. Easier said than done, maybe, but it looked like everybody handled it very well.
I think, John, one of the most difficult aspects was the fact of coming there on Friday when they just had an inspection for the very first time. So again, not a lot of action going on, just going through a very methodical process of having the cars go inspection. A lot of the guys could interact with each other and talk and still could dwell on what had happened. So it was still a more difficult time. When you're busy, you don't have the opportunity to really think and reflect. So maybe that was a little bit tougher on Friday. But again, the weather kind of threw a monkey wrench into things and did the kind of the same thing.
Yeah, no question about that. Now, we will get to the racing action in just a moment, but it was Darrell Waltrip who spoke for the NASCAR family to the NASCAR family in a pre-race prayer today. We'll take a quick break and be back with more NASCAR Victory Lane on Fox Sports Net. But first, here's DW.
I'd like to ask you to do something. I'd like to ask you to take the hand by the person beside you, and let's all bond together, and let's all take a few moments to remember Dale and what a great driver he was and all the great memories that he leaves behind. Our dear Heavenly Father, Lord, our our hearts are hurting. We've lost a great friend, and it all seems so unfair. Lord, we know you have a plan for every one of us, and it's easy for us to deal with the triumphs, but today we have to deal with the tragedy. So, Father, we ask you to give us strength as we deal with this loss. We pray for Teresa, Dale Jr., the entire Earnhardt family. Comfort them, Lord. People ask us, how can we go out and race today? We can do that, first of all, because we know that's what Dale would want us to do. And second of all, because we know he's in heaven with you. He's in a place, Lord, that we all long to be someday. So let us turn our hearts from sadness and let's celebrate the life of Dale Earnhardt and the great memories that we all have of him. Because, Lord, we know without a doubt that he is dwelling in your house and will forevermore. Amen.
Weeknights, it's Totally NASCAR, your exclusive all-access garage pass. A full 30 minutes of NASCAR news and highlights. Weeknights at 6 on Fox Sports Net.
On the largest wireless network from coast to coast. National single rate only from Verizon Wireless. Simple, affordable, national. Join in.
New batteries. Liquid wrench. Autocraft battery cables. AC Delco alternators. Advance Auto Parts carries more parts than any other store, including one you won't find anywhere else.
You know, we can give you a free installation if you like. Sure.
Advance Auto Parts. The best part is our people.
He's in there all year long, screaming and carrying on. Braves, hawks, even the Predators. And he's never been on skates in his whole life. And he'll be screaming at the players like he can do it better. Shit, fool.
Time you straighten right out.
Hello, everyone. I'm Terry Chick. Coming up tonight on your Southern Regional Sports Report at 11 Eastern. Things are tightening up in the ACC. Compliments of the Cavaliers. Virginia unleashing a relentless assault on the Tar Heels. And Carolina is shocked. We'll take you courtside for all the big shots. And 1 week after Daytona, NASCAR moved to Rockingham, where they dropped the green flag, the yellow flag, and the red flag. We'll tell you what that's all about. It's 30 minutes of sports news completely dedicated to your home team. Join Dave Branch and me at 11 for your Southern Regional Sports Report.
Welcome back, everybody. This is NASCAR Victory Lane on Fox Sports Net. Well, rain washed out the Winston Cup race at Rockingham this afternoon, and you can catch that race tomorrow at 11 a.m. on FX. Right now, let's take a look at the first 10 rows as they lined up for today's race. On the front row, it was Steve Park, and Jeff Gordon started on the pole. Ricky Rudd, Bobby Labonte right behind them. Tony Stewart still a little sore from Daytona, but nonetheless in a good starting spot. Followed by Jeff Burton, Johnny Benson, Michael Waltrip, Brett Bodine, and Kurt Busch. More the way they lined up today. In row number 6, it was Jerry Nadeau, Ward Burton, Bill Elliott, Jeremy Mayfield, Dave Blaney, Ken Schrader. DJ was in on row number 9, followed by Mark Martin, Jason Leffler, and John Andretti. Now, we did see just a little bit of racing today. Let's head down to the Rock, where the Fox Race broadcast team, Mike Joy, Larry McReynolds, and Darrell Waltrip called the action.
Green flag, we're racing. Right in single file, but Tony Stewart challenged Ricky Rudd and moves up to third.
Oh, we got trouble already.
3 cars, 4
It's Dale
cars.
Jr. It's Dale Jr.
Earnhardt Jr. with Jimmy Spencer, Kenny Wallace, and Mike Wallace. And it is Earnhardt Jr.'s car who comes to rest against the outside wall at turn 4.
This cannot be happening to that young man.
Kenny Wallace goes to the garage, Mike Wallace to pit road. And from the last lap of last Sunday to the first lap of this.
He seems to be composed, though, Mike. He's talking to his crew, and I'm sure he's trying to assess the damage and what do they want him to do. They can probably actually see the car better than he can.
From what we can see, he can climb out.
It's pretty serious, yeah. Took a pretty hard hit on lick there. You know, got the wobbling going into 3 over there. I don't know if somebody got into him and have to take a look at it and see, but up the hill he went.
Earnhardt is okay, staying in the car to talk to his crew on the two-way radio. Here's what happened as things bunched up.
I'm not so, I can't tell until we look at it one more time, but Hornaday might have got into the back of Junior, and of course all these other guys didn't have any place to go. Here comes Hornaday. Let's see what happens here. He's coming down the back. It's Junior right in front of him. I'm sure everybody's being real cautious, Oh,
yeah.
Of all things.
Everybody trying to tiptoe into that corner.
Yeah.
Of course, Kenny Wallace there in the white car, just nowhere to go.
These guys are all just caught up in it and can't nowhere to go. They're bunched up on the start here, and poor Kenny Wallace searching for a sponsor. And here's Junior and
outside.
Chances are they may take the garage area and assess the damage, but then there you go. What they've got there, that's a crash cart. It's got a lot of spare parts and pieces on it. This early in the race, this race is 3.5 hours long or longer. They get back there, they can change a lot of things on that car, get it back out there. Let's remember Dale Earnhardt Jr. is second in the points coming in this event, still early, so they need to run as many laps as they can to get as many Winston Cup points as they can. So they'll get in there and try to fix this thing.
All right, now Dale Earnhardt Jr. was a little bit banged up there, Derek. He was okay after the wreck, physically, of course, but could you imagine the disappointment for this guy to wreck on the first lap of this race?
Well, it's tough on anybody, but obviously what Junior's gone through, and to get in the race, you're anticipating to get things going and get things off your mind, and then to have a problem right off the bat and take you out of the event, and then you have to start thinking about things all over again.
Yeah, unbelievable twist of luck right there. Let's take a quick look at how they were running at the time of this bad stroke of luck for Dale Earnhardt Jr. as the first caution came out. Jeff Gordon was holding on to the lead. Steve Park was close behind him, followed by Stewart, Rudd, and Johnny Benson. 6 through 10 at the time. Now, this is just lap 2 in this race. Bobby Labonte, Jeff Burton, Jerry Nadeau, Brett Bodine, and Michael Waltrip. Now, Derek, at this point in the race, could you really tell what was going to unfold at that point, or really, I guess everybody was looking towards the sky?
Well, I think what you saw, though, you saw the 4-car of Robbie Gordon. He got, everybody's trying to get down to the bottom. Robbie was trying to get to the bottom of the racetrack to get in line. So he gets down in there, and then they get off into turn 3. And what happens getting into turn 3 is a situation where if you overdrive the corner a little bit, it loads up on the right front, and the car sort of stops for a moment. That's what it looks like happened. And then Junior run in on him, and then here come Hornaday. He had a big momentum run at him. He just didn't get on the brakes quick enough, got in the back of Junior, and then definitely got him up in the wall.
A couple other cars banged up in that one as well. Well, we'll take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll go back green flag racing. More of NASCAR Victory Lane in just a moment. Due to today's rain, Winston Cup Racing live from Rockingham will be moved to tomorrow on FX beginning at 11 a.m. Tune in to see Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Michael Waltrip carry on the Earnhardt legacy from the Rock. That's Winston Cup Racing live from Rockingham tomorrow starting at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific on FX. Check local listings.
You're huge everywhere. Tim, it's him.
The Last Word, tonight at 11:30 Eastern on Fox Sports Net.
Touch-up paint.
Oops. Sorry.
Bendix brakes. TRW tie rods. Rabbit's foot. Advance Auto Parts carries more parts than any other store, including one you won't find anywhere else.
First driving lesson?
Advance Auto Parts. The best part is our people.
He's been voted the most powerful on-air personality in sports. He's larger than life. He sparked a passion taking the country by storm. And the Sporting News says he's generated more buzz than Oprah Winfrey and Larry King. He's arguably the hippest, freshest, funniest sports talker working today.
You're underpaid. There's no question about that.
That is some serious smack. Jim Rome, The Last Word. Weeknights at 11:30 on Fox Sports Net. Welcome to the jungle.
My husband says this is the year for a satellite dish.
Well, one of the ads said free basic installation.
So who defines basic?
Then they say complex installation.
That's going to cost just a little bit extra.
They decide how much you're going to pay for it.
Hey, my life is complex. Is that going to cost me more?
Basically, can you tell me that?
Then the guy wheels out this contract.
What am I, a lawyer?
Just to watch TV, I have to sign a contract?
Satellite TV isn't all it's dished up to be.
Sorry, honey. I don't think it's going to be this year.
Hey, it's tax time, and I know that just gets you grinding, doesn't it? Well, you know what? What about this? Our tax relief event sale going on. We're going to help take the woes away from taxes as we give you sales discounts on your sales tax here at Capital Chevrolet. All weekend long through this Monday, save on brand new Impalas as low as $16,988. Save on brand new Malibus as low as $15,900, or drive away in a brand new Prism for $199 a month here at Capital this weekend.
40 years of great car deals here at Capital Chevrolet. Call us at 1-800-NEW-CAR.
You're watching Fox Sports Net.
Welcome back to NASCAR Victory Lane on Fox Sports Net. Here's what's coming up on Fox. Of course, tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern, we are going back racing at The Rock. We will pick up the rain-delayed Winston Cup race from Rockingham. That is tomorrow at 11 a.m. Now, totally NASCAR, Monday through Friday at 6 o'clock local time. Keep you up to date with all the news and notes from the track. And as we go on into the weekend, it is Winston Cup qualifying at 5 Friday. Saturday, it's Winston Cup happy hour, followed by the Busch Series out in Vegas. And then on Sunday, the Winston Cup goes out to Las Vegas. That is 2 o'clock on your local Fox affiliate. Now, rain was the rule today at The Rock, but after the second rain delay, the track was dried and we went back to green flag racing. And of course, Derek, when everybody starts looking up at the sky, you know one thing's going to happen. Do you start kind of basing your strategy around how long you may stay out, or do you just run it as you would any other race?
Well, all the crew chiefs obviously start setting up some strategies and thinking about weather. They've been monitoring the weather radar, trying to get a sense of what's going to happen, and they base some premises at that point. But certainly, again, they just go out, they got to make some changes and just get ready to see what happens.
All right, a little bit of a chess game going on today. Of course, let's head back down to the Fox Race broadcast team for the green flag.
Green flag. Green is out for the second time today. Battles Benson in turn 2, gets the spot, 5th place.
they'll start moving up that racetrack. They'll start testing it just a little bit up there in the second, third groove.
Yeah, and I don't think it'll take them very long, particularly cars in the back. They got to go to the outside if they want to pass anybody. So we'll be strung out and spread out pretty good here in not too short order.
Single file up front, back at 11th. Ward Burton inside Kurt Busch for a spot. And Jeff Burton on the move.
And what we'll see normally with fresh tires, they'll run the bottom of the racetrack. As the tires get a little wore, lose a little grip, that's when they'll start moving up just a little bit.
And that's really, a lot of that's based on what the crew chief is telling you. The crew chief will tell you your lap times, and as they start to fall off, he'll tell you, all right, bud, move that thing around a little bit and find you a place to run. Find you another groove. That was not working. Boy, Ward is up beside Michael and coming right on.
Ward Burton in the Dodge number 22.
I think Mikey's real happy with this car right now. He thought he had a good car for the long haul. That's what he was telling me. Sometimes that doesn't pay off too well. A lot of times you say your car's good on the long run. By the time it gets going, it's too late. You're a half a lap behind.
Sterling Marlin, that silver red numeral car, battling the 88 of Dale Jarrett, and the 6, the blue 6 of Mark Martin. Schrader just ahead in the yellow car.
Sterling's really moved up. He started in 26. He's already moved up to 17th. And again, those guys was very happy with their car after happy hour yesterday.
There's Sterling on the left of your screen.
When I did that interview with him yesterday, he said that he felt really confident that he was going to have a good car today and that he would have a shot at winning this race.
The Dodges did not qualify that well here. Nothing like their Daytona performance, but yes, every Dodge team I talked to this morning said they thought they'd have a good car for the race.
Well, I think they're still in that learning experience. You know, every time they go on the racetrack, I think they're getting better. They're learning more. Restrictor plate racing doesn't have anything to do with what we're doing here today.
See Dale Jarrett in the 88 car starting to move up that racetrack. Mark Martin in the 6 car doing as well. As they run the bottom, that's really the only place you can pass these guys is on the outside.
And they've run just about enough laps now for everybody to kind of know what their car's going to do, what they can expect, and where they can run. Spencer ran Bobby Hamilton slam up to the wall off a 2 over there, but he recovered.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a log jam toward the back there. Ward Burton's on the move. He's up to 10th place. Just ahead of Michael Waltrip. You ride with Waltrip down into turn 1.
Ward Burton in the 22 car there, the yellow and black car. He's always had a knack for this racetrack. He just seems like he's always been able to find the right package to get him around here in Darlington. And that's 2 of the most slickest racetracks we go to. There he's pulling underneath Brett Bodine in the 11 car. He's just picking them off about 1 a lap.
You know why he runs good here in Darlington? He runs that big old 450 right rear spring in that thing. And it's going to turn. And he's just, he's gutsy enough to hang on to her. And he does a great job in that car at these 2 racetracks.
A stiff right rear spring, it'll definitely help the car turn through the middle. Sometimes you can sacrifice forward bite, the rear wheels gripping off the corner, but it'll definitely make that thing turn.
Oh, yeah.
And Ward does not like a car to push.
Oh, no, and he doesn't want it rolling over on that right rear, rolling back on that right rear. That's what a soft spring will do. Also, it keeps that left front pin down. We always talk about aero, and you look at that thing. You can't get a real good shot of it yet, but you look at the nose of that thing. It is on the earth, and he's going by that 25 car on the outside. Like maybe Nadeau thought he could just let him go.
It's a battle for 8th. Ward moves into 8th position. Back up front, looks like Steve Park starting to challenge Jeff Gordon in the 24 car.
Another driver that said he really liked his car over the long haul, Steve Park.
Look at this kid, Ricky Craven in 32. Craven started back in 41st position. He has gained, he's now up to 23rd. He's gained nearly 20 positions since this race started and challenges Casey Atwood and Kenny Schrader.
And Rusty's right there with him. And, of course, Rusty hadn't been happy with his car all weekend, but he normally gets it figured out by race day, and he's always been a factor here at the Rock. I like that name, The Rock. How'd you do at the Rock? I did all right.
Dick Berggren.
Well, the interesting thing about Rusty Wallace's setup is that they came here with the setup they ordinarily run, and they thought they were going to be able to get away with it with this tire. Didn't work well, so they changed about everything they could think of, and that didn't work either. So then they went back to the setup they came with. Guess what? Car was fine, and they don't really know why. The lead just changed.
Steve Park puts the nose of his Chevrolet in the win. Said he had a strong car. Proved it.
The thing about Steve Park and that team, they really came into their own the second half of last year. He made some mistakes early in the season last year, but the latter part of last year, he was a man to reckon with.
Tony Stewart on the move. He is up to third place. He took that on the first lap from Ricky Rudd. Now trying to close in on this lead battle.
And that 20 car on a track like this, a little bit slick, tire management. They got the best shock man in the business. And I tell you, Zippy gets the car handling for Tony.
Oh, rain on our lens there.
Raindrops keep falling on my head.
This is one of them aggravating showers.
Oh,
It just won't go away.
Just about time you get going here and get racing along pretty good. We got caution.
There it is. For rain.
Can't wait, man. You just can't play around with that weather.
All right, perhaps the worst part of a rain delay in racing is Darrell Waltrip singing, but other than that, now, Derek, they weren't out on the track for very long, but it was long enough to find out a little bit about these cars.
Yes, I think the drivers got a real sense of exactly what the tendencies were in their race cars. First of all, you saw a lot of guys run on the bottom, and then immediately a few of the guys starting to search the racetrack and moving the outside because the guys are trying to run the bottom. There wasn't a lot of grip, the racetrack being green, meaning it just didn't have a lot of grip for the drivers to feel. So a couple of guys started venturing out to the outside. They were sticking for him, starting to make some passes and move their way up. Unlike guys like Ward Burton, who I picked, and is definitely working the bottom. The car's turning for him relatively well, and again, it looks like he had good forward bite off the corner. So I think he was definitely showing some signs of to be a factor later on.
Moving up like a madman, no doubt about that. Let's take a look at the running order as it stood at that point in the race. Lap 46 had Steve Park leading. Jeff Gordon, Tony Stewart, Ricky Rudd, and Bobby Labonte. 6 through 10 went like this: Burton, Benson, the other Burton, Brett Bodine, and Jerry Nadeau. Well, we will take a quick break, but when we come back on NASCAR Victory Lane, we will have more racing. But first, here's what's coming up on Fox Sports Net.
Every weeknight, it's Totally NASCAR, your exclusive all-access garage pass. 30 minutes of NASCAR news and highlights that put you in the driver's seat and get you ready for Las Vegas. Totally NASCAR airs weeknights at 6 right here on Fox Sports Net. Check local listings for start times in your area.
4 identical cars. 4 identical engines. Only one running on new Haviland, our latest triumph in Haviland motor oil technology. And what difference does that make? Not only do you get unsurpassed performance, but tests show that with new Haviland under the hood, you get better gas mileage. Haviland, add more life to your car.
Code 0 in progress. Code 0 in progress.
Not another code 0, man. A civilian trying to call collect by dialing 0. What a waste, baby. Easy now. Just give me the phone, sugar. You need to dial 1-800-CALL-ATT and you can save big bucks, Snowflake. Just dial right down the center. 1-800-CALLATT. Think she was digging you, Jack? Really? No.
Dial 1-800-CALL-ATT for collect calls. You're watching NASCAR Victory Lane on Fox Sports Net.
Americans love power. And they love their high-performance Briggs & Stratton engines. That's why just about every neighborhood in America is a Briggs & Stratton neighborhood. Briggs & Stratton. The power that works for you.
When you're ready to take your workout to the extreme, you're ready for ripped fuel from Twin Lab. Right now, save 20% on all Twin Lab sports products. Only at GNC.
There's a new star rising. The fans are raving. This one's going to be legendary. When you're the next big thing, everybody wants you. Even Kobe Bryant. Introducing the next big thing from McDonald's. It's the Big and Tasty.
We love to
see you smile.
Looking for a job as unique as you are? Go to Ronstadt. We market you to find the best place for you. Ronstadt, a brighter way to a better job.
Welcome back, everybody, and thanks for coming along on the ride tonight on NASCAR Victory Lane. Now, the majority of the time on the track this afternoon was spent under caution, but there was time for a pit stop. And, Derek, some of the teams gained some valuable track position and made some pretty big moves at this time.
Well, certainly. Obviously, some of the guys got a chance to get some track position out of it. But what happens also is a lot of the guys get an opportunity to fix their race cars or think they're going to fix them. Certainly, you know, they knew what the car was doing. They got the tendencies worked out. They said, look, we have to make an adjustment at this point here. We're running on the bottom of the racetrack. We're having to start to move up the racetrack. They're going to make the decision to try to rectify the problem. So, again, it's good for every one of them. But, again, the weather was coming in. They didn't know really what to do at that point, but they're still going to have a green racetrack, and they probably knew that.
Yeah, the whole time they were looking up at the sky saying, help us out. Well, let's go back down to Rockingham and take a look at some pit stops.
One of those is Jimmy Spencer. One is the 31 of Mike Skinner.
And what this green flag signifies is pit road is open. The only way pit road can be open is when the pace car goes by.
Matt Yoakum.
Jeff Burton pulls to a stop in his box. They are going to make a wedge adjustment to the 99 car, just a tweak on his Ford Taurus. The 15 car of Michael Waltrip also on a 4-tire stop for the 15 and the 99. Let's go to Steve Burns.
Matt Steve Park getting 4 Goodyear tires. No chassis adjustment to the number 1 car. He's down and away. Let's go to Dick Berggren.
Jeff Gordon is also going to take 4 tires. They're concerned about the car pushing in the middle of the corner. He has had a terrific pit stop, but the number 1 car of Steve Park has beat him out of pit road.
One thing I saw that I know everyone on pit road appreciated, these cars came in very slow and gingerly so that nobody would lock up the brake and slide on a damp pit space.
Well, pit road speed is 45 miles an hour, but I believe with as wet as it is, they was a lot slower than 45 miles an hour.
Oh, yeah, you got to really be careful because these tires have no tread, and you get on that concrete and you lock up the brakes and you're going to slide into somebody.
As on Thursday, today the sky is crying rain in Rockingham.
All right, and that showed you just how important those pit stops were, because then the rain started coming down real hard. Here's the way they were running at that time. Here, the top 10 guys. Jimmy Spencer got out of there first, and he took the lead. Buckshot Jones, Stacy Compton, Steve Park, and Jeff Gordon cycled out in the 4 and 5 position. Then it was Mass, Stewart, Ricky Rudd, Bobby Labonte, and Jeff Burton on lap number 52. Now, today before the race on Fox, NASCAR President Mike Helton spoke live on some pretty tough issues. When we come back, we'll hear what he had to say, and we will be right back with more NASCAR Victory Lane on Fox Sports Net.
It's a must-win game for Charlotte's playoff push. Davis and the Hornets. Terry and the Hawks. Friday at 7 on Fox Sports Net.
Play the Pep Boys 80th anniversary instant win game and win $80? No, $800. Oh, heck. $80,000. One of over 50,000 instant prizes at Pep Boys. Pick up your game piece today.
Whether you drive a car, truck, van, or SUV, Pep Boys has your tires. Like 35,000-mile tires, 4 for only $99. And 55,000-mile Futuras, 4 for $159. Pep Boys, cars like us, people love us.
I'm ready, ready as anybody can be. I'm ready, ready as anybody can be. Yeah.
Are you ready to ask your doctor about Viagra? Get ready. Ask your doctor if a free sample of Viagra is right for you.
Well, I'm ready for you. I hope you're ready for me.
NASCAR Victory Lane will return in a moment on Fox Sports Net.
Americans love their high-performance Briggs & Stratton engines. That's why just about every neighborhood in America is a Briggs & Stratton neighborhood. Briggs & Stratton, the power that works for you.
This is a bucket of water. And this is Goodyear's new and improved AquaTread 3. At highway speeds in a downpour, a set of AquaTread 3 tires pumps away over 6 gallons of water per second. That's over 360 gallons per mile. With its 80,000-mile tread life limited warranty, that's a lot of water. Think about it next time it's pouring buckets. New AquaTread 3.
Serious freedom.
Only from Goodyear.
Goodyear, Goodyear.
Wendy's announces our honey ham and chicken sandwich is back with its whole breast filet, creamy Dijon, and honey ham. And you can thank Dave if you ever see him again. Wendy's honey ham and chicken. It's all the buzz.
Right on target. Now there's a men's hair color made to target only your gray hair. Grecian 5. It's right on target. In 5 easy minutes, Grecian 5 targets only the gray hair. Replaces it with subtle tones like your own natural color. Right on target. It matches the rest of your hair for a subtle, natural look. Grecian 5 targets only the gray.
NASCAR Victory Lane on Fox Sports Net is brought to you by Haviland Extended Life Antifreeze. Add more life to your car.
Well, welcome back to NASCAR Victory Lane. Time now to introduce a new thing we will be doing here each Sunday night on NASCAR Victory Lane. We'll give you, the viewer, a chance to ask the experts a question on the Haviland Hotline. Dial in now, 704-527-8958, and ask your question. Then watch next week to see if we selected your question, and then hang around to hear the answer. Well, NASCAR President Mike Helton appeared live on Fox this morning before the race, and he faced some tough questions many NASCAR fans have been asking all week long.
And as we get ready for today's race here at Rockingham, the drivers had their morning meeting just a little while ago, their first without Dale Earnhardt in over 2 decades, since Darlington in 1979. That's 648 races. There's David Hoots, the race director, going over track conditions. This is a mandatory meeting for all drivers. You see Bobby Labonte and Jeff Gordon. Safety procedures are discussed along with racing procedures as well. Joining us is the president of NASCAR, Mike Helton. It's a pleasure. I know it's been a difficult week for you, but glad to have you here. A number of questions that I think viewers and racing fans have asked. And the first thing, Mike, is given the news of the broken seatbelt, are there any new developments regarding the loss of Dale Earnhardt?
Well, while the investigation continues, since our announcement Friday morning, there's nothing new to report that we're conclusive about. It's basically where we were at Friday morning with the fact that there's a piece of a belt that was supposed to be in one piece. It's now in 2 pieces.
A number of drivers now are using the 6-point belt system, improving safety. Hans' device has been stepped up, and I spoke with a number of drivers, including Jeff Burton, and he said that NASCAR and everyone in the sport has to do much more about driver safety. He said this following, of course, Earnhardt's tragic death.
This thing got in front of us somehow. I don't know how it happened. It's the teams, the drivers, it's NASCAR, it's all of us. We all need to step it up, and we all need to do a better job than what we've been doing. The fact that 4 people have been killed in a short period of time says there's something wrong.
Now, something wrong. Are drivers coming to you, Mike, as president of NASCAR and saying we need to do more?
Well, I think particularly this week, everybody wants to do more. NASCAR, the competitors in the garage area, the crew members, everybody wants to do as much as possible, even more than we do today. So I think the emotions and the frustrations of what's happened has driven everybody to want to do more right now.
Mike, don't you think that maybe it's time that NASCAR, all of us, mandate certain things? We know safety. There's a lot of safety equipment that's not being used. The Hans device is not mandatory. None of these safety items are mandatory. For drivers' protection, don't you think maybe it's time we said, okay, this is what you got to do?
Well, we mandate a lot of safety elements, but when it comes to that cocoon that Michael talked about Monday, that the driver sets in, because of the different shapes and sizes of drivers, there's some things that we simply need to recommend and work with the competitors to make better. as well as outside suppliers. In the meantime, if there's something else that makes universal sense that fits everybody exactly, it's something we can take a look at. But that the ergonomics of that cocoon is so specialized to the shape and the size and the preference of the driver, it's a recommended situation.
With that said, consider this. We go through a very stringent technical inspection with the cars. I would suggest that maybe we put the driver in the car, hook him up, seat belts, helmet, gloves, just like he's going to go on the racetrack. Have a NASCAR inspector there, look at that cocoon, and also have 3 drivers there, or maybe 2 drivers and a crew chief, because everybody sees something different. Sometimes it's the blind obvious that gets us, and maybe that's a good procedure that we could initiate and start moving things forward.
Well, and in a sense we do that today, but like Jeff said earlier, Jeff Burton said earlier, it's all of us that have to step up to the plate, and the responsibility of safety is shared by everybody in NASCAR. If it became simply a part of the inspection process, we don't know what the driver does when he goes out and gets into a car at pit road. How much of that does he follow? We can enforce it in the inspection bay, but the driver has to help us with that, and that's where we've always shared the responsibility of the safety issue.
Mike, is anybody in NASCAR, is this something you're going to do personally, or is it a situation where have you got somebody already in place in NASCAR that's responsible for your safety deal now? Have you got like a little inner working group?
Yeah, we've got the best committee in all of motorsports, and that's the garage area first and foremost. There's not 2 or 3 personal individuals at NASCAR that all the safety issues land on. It's spread out. For some time now, NASCAR has been talking about, and we've started investing capital in buildings and land, and now putting staff up together to work 5 days a week on a broad range of issues, but safety's first and foremost to us. And this is something that's been in the works for 5 or 6 months now, and will be coming about as we speak. But it's a universal issue. It's not just one person in NASCAR making the calls.
And some of the drivers have suggested a year-round safety committee that involves drivers and someone from NASCAR and a manufacturer and an owner that just focuses on safety.
Yeah. Here again, I think we've got the best at our access in the garage area, and then from the automobile manufacturers and suppliers to help us with this. Now, if we've got to step up the communication process and the involvement process of a deeper group, then that's what we'll do.
All right, well, we appreciate your time, and good luck in the future on this. Okay?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, Mike Helton earlier today. When we come back to NASCAR Victory Lane, we'll talk more about driver safety with Jeff Burton. But first, here's what's coming up tomorrow on FX. Due to today's rain, Winston Cup Racing live from Rockingham will be moved to tomorrow on FX beginning at 11 a.m. Tune in to see Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Michael Waltrip carry on the Earnhardt legacy from the Rock. That's Winston Cup Racing live from Rockingham tomorrow starting at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific on FX. Check local.
Honda Cruisers never look better. Get no down payment and low 7.9% APR financing. With your Honda card, get no down payment and low monthly payments. As low as $99 per month on the hot new Shadow Spirit for the first 2 years. Deals to move on at your Honda dealer. Available on the best cruisers in the world.
Code 0 in progress. Code 0 in progress.
No, code 0, man. A civilian trying to call collect by dialing 0. What a waste, baby. Easy now, just give me the phone, sugar. You need to dial 1-800-CALL-ATT and you can save big bucks, Snowflake. Just dial right down the center, 1-800-CALLATT. Think she was digging you, Jack? Really? No.
Dial 1-800-CALL-ATT for collect calls. You're watching NASCAR Victory Lane. Stay tuned for the Keith Olbermann Evening News next on Fox Sports Net.
Play the Pep Boys' 80th anniversary instant win game and win $80? No, $800. Oh, heck. $80,000.
One of over 50,000 instant prizes at Pep Boys. Pick up your game piece today.
Whether you drive a car, truck, van, or SUV, Pep Boys has your tires. Like 35,000-mile tires, 4 for only $99. And 55,000-mile Futuras, 4 for $159. Pep Boys, cars like us, people love us.
Kevin, I'm going out. Remember, when the guy comes to fix the dryer, tell him it doesn't dry. If your mother calls, find out what flight she's on, otherwise we won't know where to meet her. Dinner's in the oven. Turn it on at 5.
Eat a Wendy's honey ham and chicken sandwich and something happens. That delicious combination of a whole breast filet, honey ham, and creamy Dijon sauce makes it difficult to pay attention to anything else.
And I told the neighbor you'd feed their cats. If you have a minute, honey, the back door's stuck open.
Come in.
Wendy's honey ham and chicken.
Lunch, anyone?
We started the business in 1983. I grew up back east and was always into fishing and clamming. Gateway set us up with a professional series PC with the Intel Pentium 4 processors to help us track our inventory and our information better. They worked with us in terms of designing something that made sense for our business. It was more than just setting us up with the computers. It was setting us up with the training to utilize them efficiently. You know, we started this thing from scratch, and that feels great.
Come on, come on, come on.
Welcome back to NASCAR Victory Lane. I'm John Roberts alongside of Derek Cope. Now, the Hans device was a big topic of discussion all week long. It's a relatively new head and neck restraining device. Some drivers love it. Other drivers are looking into the possible benefits of it. Here's Winston Kelly with Jeff Burton.
Well, John, as you've touched on during the show, safety has been on the forefront of everybody's mind over the past number of months, but none more so than the past week. And one of the drivers who has been relatively outspoken, but in a very constructive manner, is Jeff Burton. And Jeff, much of the focus has been on the Hans neck restraint device that Brett Bodine just demonstrated for us. Some drivers comfortable with it, some feel it's too restrictive. Describe the different perspectives.
Well, the Hans system works, first of all. It does restrict the head movement, and it cuts down the chance of a basal skull fracture by a considerable amount. The problem is that it's not the end all. It doesn't fix everything. It is very restrictive when a driver goes and fixes his seat so that his seat helps prevent a basal skull fracture, and then you put that thing on, it's hard to even drive the car. So I've chose not to wear it this weekend because, in my opinion, where I am right now is if I drive my car with that Hans on, I'm going to get in a wreck based on the fact that I just can't maneuver the way I need to in a panic situation. So the fact that I would get in a wreck because I'm making myself safer is kind of counterproductive. So we got to keep working. We need everybody to be wearing them. There's no question about it. But if it's going to cause an accident, then that's the wrong way to do it.
Well, you mentioned your seat. You've added a little bit of an extension, a unique extension to the right side of your seat. Describe it and how you feel like it'll help you in the event you're in an accident.
Well, what we did was we went and looked at Indy cars, F1 cars. For the most part, they don't have basal skull fractures. There was a case of it, but there was some other life-threatening problems, and there was another case of it in a very severe accident. So they have way less incidences of it. What they have, though, is they have their heads crammed into a head system. So it starts from the back of the head and goes all the way to the front of the car. And that's what we've tried to simulate. Now, what they do, though, is they're able to come out of their car straight up. When they get in their car, people can buckle them up. We don't have that opportunity because we have to get in through the window. It's much more, even though we have bigger cars, it's harder to accomplish those things. So we've tried to simulate what it is that they're doing the best that we can in a stock car situation.
Well, trying to learn from other forms of motorsports, and one of the consensus is that things can and should be done to further enhance the safety of the drivers. Opinions continue to vary, however, on exactly what should be done and whether or not it should be mandatory. But I would expect that the decisions will continue to be left with the drivers themselves based on their personal driving style, how they sit in the car, and what's most comfortable to them.
All right, Winston Kelly, thank you very much. Derek, we saw it right there. There are plenty of answers, but the thing we are missing, because we have different drivers, is the answer.
Well, I think, John, the key is the fact that everyone's different. Certainly, everybody sits in the race car different. Our body makeup is different. Some have long necks, short necks. So, you know, the way that you drive the race car, some guys can sit in there and can be more confined and can just turn the steering wheel. One guy's got to get on top of the wheel, and they actually move their shoulders a great deal. Various driving styles. So, like Mike, Helton alluded to, we have to kind of work with each driver. So I think it's a key that each driver takes it upon himself to really find what's most beneficial for him and conducive for being able to perform every function that he does and still, create a good situation for himself if he gets into a problem.
All right, Derek, one thing we know for sure is this is now in the forefront and the discussions are wide open. When we come back on NASCAR Victory Lane, rain delay means we get another shot at picking drivers to watch. Stay with us.
Hello, everyone. I'm Terry Chick. Coming up tonight on your Southern Regional Sports Report at 11 Eastern, things are tightening up in the ACC. Compliments of the Cavaliers. Virginia unleashing a relentless assault on the Tar Heels, and Carolina is shocked. We'll take the courtside for all the big shots. And 1 week after Daytona, NASCAR moves to Rockingham, where they drop the green flag, the yellow flag, and the red flag. We'll tell you what that's all about. It's 30 minutes of sports news completely dedicated to your home team. Join Dave Branch and me at 11 for your Southern Regional Sports Report.
4 identical cars, 4 identical engines. Only one running on new Haviland, our latest triumph in Haviland motor oil technology. And what difference does that make? Not only do you get unsurpassed performance, but tests show that with new Haviland under the hood, you get better gas mileage. Haviland, add more life to your car.
Reactor 3 at critical mass. Core temperature still rising.
Close the flow channels. Activate the hydrogen recombiners.
Meltdown.
Do it.
In 10 seconds.
Are you new to the team? Well, actually, I'm with the tour group. But I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night.
Stay smart. Stay at a Holiday Inn Express.
Losing your hair? It's a thing in my family. Suddenly I'm 30. I'm seeing hair here and hair there. I'm bumming. What did I expect? Thanks, Dad. So a year ago, I broke with tradition. Started using Rogaine.
Rogaine. It's the only one clinically proven to work directly on the scalp to help stop hair loss.
Look, nothing here, nothing here. It's all here. Rogaine broke the family curse.
Rogaine. Stronger than heredity.
Code 0 in progress. Code 0 in progress.
Not another code 0, man. A civilian trying to call collect by dialing 0. What a waste, baby. Easy now. Just give me the phone, sugar. You need to dial 1-800-CALL-ATT and you can save big bucks, Snowflake. Just dial right down the center. 1-800-CALLATT. Think she was digging you, Jack? Really? No.
Dial 1-800-CALL-ATT for collect calls.
Busch Series Racing on FX, live from Las Vegas. It's time to get on a roll and make a run at one of the driver's favorites. Because if you play your cards right, you'll hit the jackpot. It's Vegas, baby. Busch Series Racing on FX. Coverage begins with happy hour, Saturday, 2 Eastern, 11 Pacific, and Winston Cup Racing Sunday on Fox.
3 kids, 3 lives, 1 dream. Prep Chicago Hoops, weekdays at 5 on Fox Sports Net.
It's another full weekend of racing across the Fox networks, beginning Friday here on Fox Sports Net, with Winston Cup qualifying live from Las Vegas. Then on Saturday, it's Winston Cup Happy Hour on FX, followed by Busch Series Racing live from Las Vegas. And on Sunday, start your race day with NASCAR This Morning on Fox Sports Net, followed by Winston Cup Racing on Fox. Then get the full wrap-up of all the day's action with NASCAR Victory Lane back on Fox Sports Net. The Fox Network's your new home for NASCAR.
Well, welcome back, everyone. Earlier today on NASCAR This Morning, we took our best shot at picking some race winners. Now, here's another look at some real expert predictions. Now, each Sunday, we like to make our race predictions here on the segment we call Who to Watch. So Steve Wade will start us out.
Oh, to start with me, huh?
Yeah, put you on a hot seat.
All right, who to watch? Let's start with Dale Jarrett. He got right at this track last year after that long drought without a victory. I think he can come back and do it again. But my pick, call me the front runner, is Jeff Gordon. Jeff Gordon has an excellent record at Rockingham. Quit laughing over there. He does. And, you know, he's on the pole, but the most important thing is he was fastest in happy hour practice the other day. So that means a lot. And the big deal is he's got 4 wins, 6 top 5s. But remember, guys, he swept both races at Rockingham in 1998. He knows how to win at this track.
Yeah, well, I'm not,
heard that.
I'm not laughing at Jeff. I'm laughing at him always picking the guy.
First.
Well, I'm not laughing at Jeff. I'm laughing at him. Always taking the top guys, right? But here it is. Now, situation being that I wanted to pick Jeff Burton or Jeremy Mayfield, but no, they told me to pick somebody else.
Sure.
Blame it on somebody else.
Hey, these guys look really good. I mean, Jeremy, you know, he runs very, very, very well there. So does Jeff Burton. Again, I'm not getting a chance to see what these guys can physically do on the racetrack at this point. I'm going to go with another guy that I think has done very well there, and that's Ward Burton. I'm going to go with him one more time. I mean, I was with him at Daytona. Didn't quite come through for me, but had a shot. But he's got a win there, you know, 3 top 5, and he's finished 3rd in the last race there. So, you know, Ward certainly can get it done. And, you know, that Dodge, like I say, I'm hoping that the downforce issue maybe doesn't play quite as bad as the thing gets going.
All right, Billy, who do you think?
Well, I think Steve Parker will be strong at this race. I also think Ricky Rudd runs well there. But my pick for this week is Rusty Wallace.
Oh, you've been talking to John.
Finally seeing somebody to see in the lane. With the track record that Rusty has at that racetrack, he has 5 wins, 12 top 5s, and 2 poles. If Rusty will let his pit crew do their job today and make the calls, Rusty, you can win. But you got to let the team do their job also.
Hey, the phone's ringing. I think it's Rusty.
Yeah, well, these guys are wishy-washy. You guys are wishy-washy. You're picking this guy, that guy. You'll notice every week from this seat, we just go with one guy. And again this week, I'm agreeing with Bill. It is Rusty Wallace. He's the short track master. He wins there. Doesn't matter where he's starting, 22nd, 23rd. He's going to win this sucker.
Rusty's not going to like that comment.
No, yeah, short track master.
Well, master on every track, as you will see. All right. The picks are noted, and they are on tape. All right, true professionals at work. When we come back, some final thoughts on a very difficult, emotional day in the history of NASCAR racing.
Announces our honey ham and chicken sandwich is back with its whole breast filet, creamy Dijon, and honey ham. And you can thank Dave if you ever see him again. Wendy's honey ham and chicken. It's all the buzz.
Americans love their high-performance Briggs & Stratton engines. That's why just about every neighborhood in America is a Briggs & Stratton neighborhood. Briggs & Stratton, the power that works for you.
It's a great story. A great family movie. Spot! He's a mischievous dog.
That was cool.
My kids couldn't stop laughing.
A little something I call George Jefferson.
This was a great family movie.
Critics say See Spot Run is ferocious fun. The best family film of the season. See Spot Run. Rated PG. Sneak preview Sunday.
Every weeknight, it's Totally NASCAR.
Your exclusive source of NASCAR information.
30 minutes of NASCAR news and highlights that put you in the driver's seat. Totally NASCAR, weeknights at 6 on Fox Sports Net.
Stan. If television was like the internet, you'd probably never watch it. But what if the internet could be more like TV?
You're always connected. You're always on. You never have to dial up. You'll never get a busy signal without home.
There's no way I would ever go back to a dial-up service.
Call today to join more than 1 million subscribers and get the most complete internet service available for your home. Call now to order.
The Renaissance Hotel, Nashville's largest downtown hotel, has a career opportunity waiting for you. Renaissance Nashville Hotel has full-time positions available in all areas and all shifts. We offer great benefits, including profit sharing, paid time off, travel discounts, insurance, and more. Renaissance Nashville Hotel is looking for dependable and friendly people to be part of a great organization. Call 493-4028 today and find out how you can start a great new career.
You're huge everywhere. It's him.
The Last Word, tonight at 11:30 Eastern on Fox Sports Net. He's been voted the most powerful on-air personality in sports. He's larger than life. He sparked a passion taking the country by storm. And the Sporting News says he's generated more buzz than Oprah Winfrey and Larry King. He's arguably the hippest, freshest, funniest sports talker working today.
You're underpaid. There's no question about that.
That is some serious smack. Jim Rome, The Last Word. Weeknights at 11:30 on Fox Sports Net. Welcome to the jungle.
Well, welcome back to NASCAR Victory Lane. Derek Cope, the Winston Cup circuit had to roll on today under some pretty difficult situations, and they did it pretty admirably.
They did a great job. Certainly the drivers and the crews. I think we're looking forward to getting back to working, and they got their opportunity tomorrow, and it should be a great race.
All right, the green flag will drop once again on the race from The Rock at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and you can catch it on FX. That does it for us here on NASCAR Victory Lane. Thanks for coming along for the ride. Have a great night, everybody. See you.